In this video, you will learn the most important thing you need to start increasing your credit score as fast as possible. It's important you watch the video until the end to understand all the steps we're about to go through today. So guys, to start increasing your credit score, let's first talk about credit and understanding credit. So credit actually has a few factors that make it up. Here are the factors that make it up. So there are actually 5 factors, and the 5 factors are credit utilization, payment history, inquiries, length of your credit history, and your credit mix. Utilization makes up 30%, payment history makes up 35%, inquiries make up 10%, credit mix makes up 10%, and credit length makes up 15%. So you put that all together, adds up 100%. Makes sense, right? So as you can see, the biggest factors are utilization and your payment history. So payment history is the biggest factor, or has the biggest weight, being 35%. But if you have a messed up payment history, it can be a little bit complicated to increase your credit score by fixing it, because if you want to fix your payment history, you have to go through the credit repair process by trying to remove late payments, collection, charge-offs, things like that. So the next best thing you can do is work on that credit utilization. Credit utilization is something that you can work on right now, today, if you really want to. So we're going to go over that right now. Guys, to be prepared and do this right, the first thing you're going to want to do is get a credit monitoring service. I recommend Credit Hero Score or Experian. Once you have a credit monitoring provider, you can check your balances, your credit reports, and your credit scores. You don't want to just be guessing on this stuff. You want to make sure you have a credit monitoring provider to understand every single thing. And that credit monitoring provider will actually show you when things were posted on your credit report. So once you hop into that credit monitoring provider, you can take a look at your credit cards and check the utilization each one is reporting. So once you do that, you can look at the balances. Along with the balances, I recommend trying to get the dates that they were reported to. The best way to do this is by calling the banks up or the credit card providers and asking them what days they actually report those balances on. So what I do to work on my balances being reported to on my credit reports is I look at my statement close date. So you have a statement close date and your due date on your credit cards. So the due date is after your credit card starts reporting that balance, and they actually have whatever you have on that balance that you need to pay, which is why it's your due date, right? But if you pay your credit cards before the statement balance, the credit bureaus won't have that balance being reported on the next cycle. So let's say, for example, I owe $300 on my credit card. If I pay that before the statement close date, then it's going to be reporting $0 when it reports to the credit bureaus. So let's say you used $300 and you waited until after that statement close date, is going to be reporting that $300. You could literally pay it after that close date, but if it's already reported to, you're still going to be showing $300, even if you have only maybe $20 after that statement close date. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to the times, guys. Okay, so you know your balances and you know the dates that your credit cards report to. So let's say you have a credit card with a $4,000 credit limit and you owe $3,000 on that card. That utilization is very high. Because of that high utilization, that credit card is bringing your score down a lot. Instead of holding that balance, try to pay that card off as close to zero as possible. The closer you get to under 10% utilization is the best way to get your credit score up, guys. Getting under 10% utilization will yield the most significant results. If you can get to around 0 or 3% utilization, you'll see the most drastic results in your credit, and your credit is going to increase like crazy. So guys, we talked about credit utilization being 30% of your credit score. So if the most you can get on your credit score is 850 and you take 30% of that, that's going to be 255 points. So 255 points is the range your credit score has between going up and down. So why not use those 255 points and try to max out as many points as you can get by having the lowest utilization possible? Because if you have the lowest utilization possible, it means you're using most of the points up for good. If you have a higher utilization, that means you're getting less of those points, which is going to make your credit score go down. And guys, another tip, if you did manage to pay that card close to that zero balance, please make sure to not use that credit card. If you use that credit card again before the statement close date or before the due date, that balance is then going to show. So let's say, for example, you had that $3,000 that you paid off and you start using it again, you put another $500. Well, that's just going to add another $500, and now that $500 is going to be reported. $500 is still better than the $3,000 you had reporting originally, but if you want to see the best results using this tip, you want to make sure you try to get to zero balance as close as possible. Guys, if you don't have the money to pay those credit cards as close to zero balance as possible, that's fine. Here are some tips or steps that you can do to work on that. So let's first discuss a few things. So if you can get your utilization to 30%, that's really good. You'll still see some really good change. If you go from an 80% utilization to 30%, you'll still see drastic changes. If you can get it to 10%, that's amazing, guys. If you get a utilization of 10%, like I said, your credit score is going to be improving like crazy. So what I would do, if you really want to get your credit improved as fast as possible, start making it a priority to pay off your biggest balance cards. So as soon as you get paid, Find a way to budget to pay off a large chunk of your biggest balance credit card. When you start paying that big chunk of change to that big balance credit card, like I said, that's going to bring that utilization down. So whatever you got to do to bring that utilization down, do it. If you got a big loan coming up that you want to purchase, maybe a big car loan or a house loan, and you want to get that credit score up, do this utilization trick. I'm telling you guys, it's going to work wonders. And if you're serious about getting your credit score up, you'll do whatever it needs to be done to get that credit score up. So guys, make it a priority to get that utilization down. It's going to help you guys. So around the same time you're making it a priority to pay that balance close to zero, make sure you're only using the money you have available. Don't start using your credit cards to buy things you don't have the money for. So if you're about to make a $500 purchase and you don't have $500 in cash, don't start buying that stuff, guys. Only purchase necessities. And like I said, try to budget the most you can to paying that balance down. It's going to reward you, trust me. So another thing you can do is what is called a balance transfer. So let's say you have $5,000 that you owe on a card and it's a $6,000 limit, and you have another card that's maybe $10,000, it has zero on it. Let's say that $10,000 card reports next month, and that card that you owe $5,000 is going to report in a couple days. If you don't want that $5,000 reporting and lowering your utilization, what I would recommend doing is finding a way, if that other card allows you, to balance transfer that $5,000, maybe balance transfer $3,000 to that other card. That way you're only going to have $2,000 reporting on the next cycle for that credit card that's going to report in a few days, and then that other card that reports next month, you have more time to pay that one off. So that's just some tips. Like I said, it's very important to know when those cards report and understanding your balances. And guys, I will emphasize this: to make sure this credit utilization hack works, do not have any negative items added to your credit report while you're doing this. So if you're working on this in a month or 2 months, try to keep your payments on time. Don't allow any collections to be added to your credit report. Basically, don't get any inquiries. Don't fall back on payments. Pay the minimum payment if you have to. Just don't get any negative items. You want to make sure you get this credit utilization to boost your credit score up as much as possible. I've seen people go up 100 points just because they went from an 80% utilization all the way down to like 5%. So this trick works wonders, guys. Like I said, it's 255 points you have to manipulate with credit utilization, so you want to make sure all those points are working to your favor. So guys, there are a lot of ways to work on fixing your utilization and bringing it close to zero. These were just a few tips. Make sure to like this video to help support the channel. If you need help fixing your credit, DM MJM Credit on Instagram or book a free consultation at mjmcredit.com.